It's Kurt and Wyatt Russell joining us, and they have a new series on Apple TV Plus. It is called Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. New episodes coming out every Friday. All right, let me know how this sounds to you guys. I want to be the voiceover guy if you need one, even if you don't need one. Following the thunderous battle between Godzilla and the Titans that leveled San Francisco and the shocking revelation that monsters are real, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, tracks two siblings following in their father's footsteps who uncover their family's connection to the secret organization known as Monarch. What do you think?
Not bad. I would slow it down a touch, but
oh, you would have. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because the faster you go, the more less you give a shit, obviously. So.
If it's just for time, that was all. I was worried about you guys with time.
That was nice 30 seconds.
Yeah, I like that. In a world, like I always wanted to be that.
Yeah.
In a world. That was that Don LaFontaine?
One man.
Yeah. I always loved that. Wyatt, when you saw Kurt play Herb Brooks, Herb Brooks.
Nobody saw the Mel Brooks thing.
And you were great. You were great. Not as good as Albert Brooks, but you were great. Okay. When you saw him play Herb Brooks, did you ever have a coach who was like that?
No, I wish I did, to be honest. I mean, Herb was a legendary coach. My dad, I think he said before he can talk to it better, was doing his father, Bing, who was a lot like Herb, but it was in the baseball world. I think for me, I was a little distant from the process because I was playing at the time. And there was some fun stuff, actually. He would come out and practice with us, do some skating around, watch us interact, and there was a lot from the film, and Gavin O'Connor, the director as well, would come some of the games, be in the locker room. So there was a little bit of overlap, but more of what was, I guess, a testament to how good he was in that film was when Herb's grandkids saw the movie, they thought they were looking at Granddad.
It was Wyatt's first year up there playing playing junior hockey in Canada, and they came to me and they said, the beginning of the movie is young Herb. Do you think Wyatt would do it? He said, don't even ask him. He's not here working movies. He's here trying to earn a job on these teams and move forward in hockey. So Don't bother.
Would you have taken him up on the offer if they asked you, Wyatt?
No, they did.
Oh, they did. Oh, they did. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, we had a good. It was the second year. We had a good team. We ended up second in Canada that year, finishing second in nationals, and we had a really good team. And that my career path was hockey, so it was like this was a very important time. And we did have a couple players actually leave the team to go be in the movie.
Oh, okay.
And they wanted to come back when the movie was done and be on the team again. And it was like, no way, dude. Sorry, you left this team to go join a different one. And it doesn't matter that it was a movie; it wasn't our team. So it was a little bit of a thing because it was such a big deal in Vancouver at the time. They're getting a lot of hockey players, and they were paying these guys money that they hadn't been paid before. So it was fun. Sometimes we'd play. We'd have a game in like Abbotsford, and they shot at Abbotsford right after we'd play. So we'd have like the crew in the stands, and then we'd end the game, and then my dad would come to work on the same ice that I just played on. That was kind of fun.
They helped them find a lot of the locations. Actually, I turned that movie down quite a few times because it was relatively uninteresting in the form that it was in. But I was up there, because Wyatt was playing hockey there. I was going to be playing hockey there for a number of years.
Wow.
And so I knew all the rinks that they could, possibly use in the time of year that would work and whatnot. So I ended up doing the movie because Gavin O'Connor and I had great conversations about having hockey players play the characters in the movie. Sports movies are tough. They're really tough. I've never done a baseball one. It depends on the story, and really, generally, their sports stories are written by fans. They're not written by players, and there's a completely different mindset coming out of the players, from the players' point of view, than there is a fan's point of view. And very few are made by people who either played the game or played some high level or professional level of the game, and those are usually much better.
How many takes for that speech? How many takes did
Well, it's interesting. There was a lot of rewriting there. Not that many. Had a couple cameras rolling, and the speech. That's right. I forgot about that. Fortunately, I had that opportunity to speak with Herb before that, so I felt very good about the fact that when the players on the team saw that movie, they did refer to the speech and say, "How did you know that?" Because I'd spoken with Herb. The speech was quite different, in fact, before we actually filmed it. And I don't know, we did like a normal amount, 3 or 4 takes. And I must say there was one line in it that it came to me at one time, which was, it's like those line reading things, which you never think about, but this is your time. That was sort of the impetus of the speech. And I was just looking at those guys and I just said, this is your time. It's not their time anymore. It's your time. And that became what came out of that pregame speech. My favorite story that would never, which I can't tell it here either, I suppose, but was not that speech, but the speech that Herb gave. I should say the speech that Herb didn't give for the last game. After they beat the Russians, they had to play Finland. And I think it was Finland that they had to beat for the gold.
You can tell the story.
Okay. Well, anyway, from what it was is Herb said nothing, came into the room, said nothing, started to walk out of the room, got to the door, turned around, and he said, if you lose this game, you'll take it to your grave. And he turned around and walked out. I wanted to shoot that and have no sound of my voice, but have Herb already narrating the ending of the movie, but you could read his lips.
That would have been awesome in the credits.
I think it would have been great. Yeah.
What do you think when you see Slapshot?
Slapshot wasn't as inaccurate as people might think it would be.
There's an amazing story about that. Slapshot was written by a woman whose brother was in the Portland Mavericks locker room. I think he was a player on the team. Can't remember because this is a long time ago.
And the Portland Mavericks were a team.
That was the template. The Portland Mavericks, which my dad owned, and it was Batter Bastards of Baseball is a documentary you can see if you have it on Netflix that is about that team. It was the most successful minor league team in the history of the game. It was actually a very interesting situation, and he was on that team. That was a lot of that was derived from his experience with the Portland Mavericks, which I guess he shared with his sister.
Well, but you guys were all in, like, believable. I mean, the fact that Paul Newman took that job, like, I'm just going, wow.
I love Slapshot. Love Slapshot.
That wasn't as like Ogie Oglethorpe was like based off of a real person. Yeah, especially back in the 70s. Like that was not. That was. I mean, obviously it was caricaturized, but it wasn't that far off.
Yeah, that's that because. Not anymore. Not anymore. That's a blast of a movie. I mean, you can't. Come on, there's too much great stuff in that. It's fabulous.
Monarch: Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV Plus. So summarize this. What have we missed so far, and where are we headed with this?
Well, you go. You're better at explaining.
This is all the movies have there's a Godzilla lore, of course, and this is connected to that. But this is much more about the people who are now dealing with the reality that monsters are in and amongst us, and we have to live with them and try to figure out a way. What is it we're going to do? So this Monarch was created back in the late 40s and early 50s by 3 people. And the character that Wyatt and I play was sort of the guy who was coming in from the military side, and he was the one who needed to sort of become a believer, as it were. That company, Monarch, grew and grew, but then fell apart and became something very different. This story is about the mystery of those people and how it happened, and the fact that what you're looking at here is what are these monsters? They are real. They're not dinosaurs. Where do they come from? Why is it we can't see them? They're very, very mysterious in and amongst themselves. And so it deals with that. It's all about this family finding out their history, their history having to do with this. And it goes back and forth from the 50s up to 2014, 2015. And that's when I that's when I play this character, Lee Shaw. Wyatt plays him all through the 50s.
Do you believe in monsters?
I believe in Godzilla. With this, there's human monsters and there's animal monsters. That's kind of a lot of what's behind what we're doing here.